Jack Dio says NIS is bankrupt. Granger's old home burglarized. Paul Slow slapped with another defamation suit. And half-truths on the NIS. I am Rico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. If you see news happening, send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. NIS is bankrupt, and according to Jack Dio, the entity is in no position at this time to offer increases in retirement pension benefits. This was his response to one resident in Berbice who complained that he has not seen an increase in his benefits for more than a year. Jack Dio said they are now focused on maintaining payments and not increasing them, as he said that APNU left NIS in such dire financial straits after the laying off of the sugar workers, telling them, quote, "No, the NIS is bankrupt. The NIS is bankrupt basically, and when APNU reduced the 7,000 sugar workers, it is 7,000 less that contributed to the NIS," end quote. However, he noted that there are adjustments to be made to the benefit as mandated by law, but adjustments are different from increases. Later that day, Jack Dio also said an estimated 3,500 persons who were not supposed to receive cash relief grants ended up cashing in on the scheme that had been set up to aid farmers who were affected by last year's nationwide floods. He, however, ruled out the government stopping the distribution, and despite the scam, they estimated 70,000 farmers benefited from the cash distribution. He ultimately blamed his government for allowing the fraudsters to game the system and promised to improve in the future. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights has recommended that the governments of Guyana ensure that the residents of the indigenous village of Isenuru in Region 7 receive full reparations for the violation of their human rights. The ruling was contained in a December 2021 report of the Commission following a case filed by the village and the Amerindian Peoples Association of Guyana back in September 2013. The judgment report remained confidential at this time, but Starbuck News was able to access a copy along with 2 letters to the government and petitioners informing of the ruling. The violation in question is the ecological damage to their community, which was directly caused by the mining operation of one Joan Chang. In 2013, the APA processes a High Court ruling that favored the operation over the village, eventually bringing the issue to the attention of the United Nations. Granger's former home in Durban Backlands, Georgetown, was robbed on the 24th of April. The building now houses an office and his youth foundation. According to the police, it was vandalized and robbed of more than $600,000 worth of items, including computers that were installed for children in the community to use. The police were called to the scene and launched a full investigation. Despite having many expensive pieces of office equipment at the building, there was no security at night, only during the day. Well, I'd make an election theft joke here, but I'm feeling lazy. So, now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale, this is 2016 Toyota Axio. It comes with Bluetooth, mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, electronic parking brake, back camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $3.5 million. All pay down as low as $700,000 down, with around $60,000 monthly for 5 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Petersham, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lama Street, and tell Nico sent you for this sweet deal. An estimated 2.8 million people, or nearly 40% of the population of the English-speaking Caribbean, is food insecure. 1 million more than in April 2020. And the situation is further compounded by rising food prices and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The United Nations Guyana said a survey has found that severe food insecurity continues to increase in the region, with the current figure being 72% higher when compared to April 2020. Much of this is blamed on the impact of the pandemic over the last 2 years, obviously. The body of Venezuelan national Daisy Anturi Perdomo was found in a shallow grave on the 26th of April in Region 8. Police revealed that multiple chop wounds were observed on her body. Her reputed husband, Vladimir Marquez, is in police custody as detectives are on the hunt for 2 other men, also Venezuelan nationals. Investigators say Marquez left for Venezuela on the 22nd of April, and the following day, Perdomo was seen leaving the Backdam with the 2 men. They reportedly went to Etteringbang Landing, where they bought groceries and drank alcohol. They then returned to the Backdam the same day. On April 26, Marquez returned and couldn't contact his wife. Later the day, he found her body. The other 2 men have since left for Venezuela. Paul Slow has been slapped with another $70 million lawsuit for libel, this time by Deputy Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus. Brutus is contending that Slow uttered remarks that painted him as corrupt, unprofessional, dishonorable, dishonest, lacking integrity, among other disparaging things. Slow had reportedly said this on multiple occasions on his Facebook program, Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. According to iNews Guyana, Slow has been evading service from the court martials for about 3 weeks and was finally served today. Do you own a truck? No, not the deceased, I mean a real truck. Like DAF, International, Freightliner, Bedford TM, or Scammell. Then come, get high-quality truck parts at the lowest prices at Powered Automotive. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. The latest annual report released by Guyana Supreme Court has noted a rapid increase in divorce matters being filed. The 2018 report was laid in the National Assembly earlier this month. They have a severe backlog in these things, apparently. While the family court saw an intake of 606 divorce cases in 2017, that figure almost doubled in 2018 and stood at 1,129. According to the report, that represents a 46% increase. Some 139 of these divorce cases were withdrawn or dismissed, and a mere 8 struck out, and 456 concluded. It should be noted that the family court only became operational in 2016, 8 years after plans were finalized for its establishment, with 2 judges assigned. That saw family law cases like divorce and child custody being concluded more speedily and removed the burden from the High Court. Now for today's oil update. Hess expects to lift some 23 million barrels of oil in the remaining quarters of the year. John Riley, Hess's chief financial officer, said thus far, Hess has already sold some 2.3 million barrels of oil from operations in the Starbuck block. They expect to get 7 1 million barrel lifts in the second quarter. Added to that, Hess expects 8 1 million barrel liftings each in the remaining third and fourth quarter, bringing the total to 23 million barrels of oil. In Hess's 2021 Q4 earnings call, the company had anticipated a total of 24 lifts for 2022. But with revised production figures for the Liza Destiny due to an increase in production capacity, this number has since been increased. Take a look at this beauty being constructed in a gated community called Richmondville in Guyana. It features 4 bedrooms, 1 pool with 7,000 square feet of living space along with modern amenities. Contact Sheriff Construction on 592-618-5702. Now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? Taking anything a politician says at face value. I'm not calling them liars, but like a cheating boyfriend explaining where they've been all night, politicians are excellent at using half-truths and misdirection to shift the blame off of them and onto others, or just to share it. Now today, I'm fact-checking our vice president and his reasoning for why the NIS is broke. He is correct that, yes, taking around 7,000 people off of the payroll would cause a decrease in NIS payments. But that's only part of the story. The last sugar estate closed in December 2017, and according to the International Labour Organization, the average age of respondents to the survey of sugar workers was 50 years of age. Public sector retirement age is 55, meaning that a large percentage of these workers were to retire soon. So whatever gains NIS would have gotten from salary deductions over the years would have been marginal compared to the retirement pension payouts they would be required to make by now. That brings me to the second point. While it was wrong for APNU to just up and fire 7,000 public sector workers with no alternative for them, it would also be wrong to blame NIS's money problems on that one action, especially when you consider that an audit done in 2016 proved that the multi-billion-dollar investments into Colonial Life Insurance Company, which failed, the Berbice Bridge, and several other government projects under Jagdeo's administration failed to actually bring a return to the NIS. Then you have to consider the fact that there aren't enough active workers to support the scheme in its current form in the first place. Now, I could go deeper and actually start doing the math and giving you those numbers, but that's irrelevant for now, and besides, I'd have you here far too long. All I'm trying to say is, you should always think critically whenever a politician states a quote-unquote fact, or at least what they say is a fact. Only base your beliefs on your own research, and never on the words of a politician, because often knowing only half of the story is just as bad as knowing none of it. Now for our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Yesterday's question was, what is the biggest concern you have for the nation? The realist one says, the greatest issue is the lack of love and unity. Racism has torn us in so many ways, but if we unite, we can be that one fist to knock out any obstacle. I agree with you fully. I Am Bantu says, the things that affect any country are too many loggerheads in government and opposition, and the lack of a digital accounting system across all sectors of society. Everything in the government needs to go digital and put the postal system back to proper use. Too many things are still using Stone Age technology. I also agree with that 100%. I mean, come on, we're supposed to be an oil-producing nation, and we don't even have a proper postal system. Dapper Jr. says, that's an easy one. The greatest issue is the greed and selfishness of some of our leaders. Another very true statement. Jerry Box says, weak opposition and government not running the country as the Constitution mandates. That's what I keep saying, that this opposition keeps disappointing me because they're supposed to be the ones to stick up for the little guy. But, well, they're failing at that. Now, before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can make money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for tonight's question. According to JAGDEO, about 5% of the people who had received flood relief checks were actually fraudsters. So, I want to know, what do you think should be done to reduce the amount of fraud in this system? Or should we just even do away with cash disbursements altogether? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks.